RSI represents our members here in Washington in order to make sure that their voices are heard as regulators and as members of Congress are making important policy decisions that can impact their business. RSI is engaged in order to make sure that members are heard and that the administration understands what we do, what we bring to the table, what our employees do. We have 250 member companies and represent about 90,000 employees directly or indirectly that are involved in the rail supply industry.
We have our traditional day-to-day lobbying where we meet with congressional staff and executive staff, and it's a two-way street. We talk, they listen, they talk, we listen, and hopefully we compromise and come to an agreement on legislative policy issues, regulatory issues. The RSI PAC provides another avenue for us to engage and meet and communicate with members of Congress through political fundraisers. And then we have the Grassroots, Grass Tops program, where we are collectively representing and being able to show through our mapping project and economic studies the economic impact, essentially, that the rail supply industry has on the domestic economy.
The value that the RSI advocacy program brings to us is that we are able to leverage our individual kind of one-person efforts on the Hill and in the various government agencies for our key issues. RSI can go to the Hill and the agencies with one voice, and there is always strength in numbers to carry our message to the decision makers.
RSI has the potential to be the perfect mouthpiece or communicator of what's going on in America. The average company that's a member of RSI is about $10 million in revenue. Members of Congress want to hear from them, the small businesses that actually have manufacturing jobs.
We also hold industry events, and a sampling of those industry events is Railroad Day in Capitol Hill, where we partner with other industry organizations to essentially bring freight railroading employees, passenger railroading employees, suppliers, come to Washington, D.C. and talk about why freight and passenger rail is so important to the country. We do a passenger day here in Washington, D.C., where we meet exclusively with the Amtrak CEO and his executive staff. That's an RSI member-only event. We also hold our own fly-ins. We have, 8 committees at RSI, and each committee likes to come to town and meet with their members of Congress to talk about that particular committee's interest in Washington, D.C. Our leasing committee does it, our tank car committee does it. We also have our government and public affairs committee that loves to come to town and talk about the Section 130 Highway Rail Grade Crossing Program, Amtrak funding, regulations that could impact. So we also meet with Federal Railroad Administration and senior executive service professionals at Department of Transportation.
The key issues we addressed in 2017 were the plethora of state-owned enterprises entering the market space of many of our members, the threat and continuing specter of increased truck sizes and weights, which could lead to traffic or modal diversion away from the freight railroads, which is our core area of business for many, if not most of the RSI members. We've had some other issues that we support, more macro issues like economic re-regulation of the railroads, which we would oppose. And the last issue is Buy America. There is a Buy America protection in the transit and commuter rail and passenger rail arena. The Buy America provisions are good, but they need to be better enforced and more consistently enforced to protect the interest of that segment of our membership.
One of the important programs that we follow here and track and lobby for at RSI is something called the Section 130 Highway Rail Grade Crossing Safety Program. It's a program that provides to the states over $222 million a year, and it goes up incrementally since the passage of the FAST Act. Government can give, government can take, but this is one program that we've seen success since the 1970s, and we're very proud of the work that the program has done, but we're also very protective of it because we want it to continue.
We've communicated effectively with both DOT to the highest levels and to members about Buy America and how if we're going to have a law, you have to enforce it. Because if you let cheaters cheat, all the industries that actually comply with the rules are going to lose out to the people that are not.
I would strongly urge and encourage my fellow Railway Supply Institute members to get involved in our Government Affairs and Advocacy program. It has a lot to offer, and we need more horsepower and member engagement on addressing these critical issues, many of which are perennial issues.
That's why you have RSI as your representatives here in Washington, D.C. We're simply looking out for the best interests of our members.